Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augment Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas, and I'm your host as usual. And obviously, welcome back to the show. Today's episode 226 of the show, and before we get started, let's just do a little bit of house cleaning quick, because, well, we haven't done it in a very long time, and you guys have probably been wondering, where the hell have I been? So let's get on with the house cleaning. So thank you guys for coming back and listening to today's episode. It really does mean a lot to me. You guys constantly take time in your days to download these episodes, to show these episodes, to constantly keep letting me know how you feel, whether you like my stupid face or not. And you guys have probably missed me for a while, because, well, we've been on hiatus for a couple weeks, and, well, now we're back. So just a little bit of a beef rundown. More of a brief rundown. So for the last from the last 2 weeks of July, I was in Austin finishing the last two parts of my internship, and then I had to come back to school, and we've been busy with training and other stuff. So definitely a lot of stuff there that to be honest, I just haven't had time to really do the show because there was just so much to do in such little period of time. But now that things have calmed down a bit more and things are a little bit more, well, relaxed, I guess I can do the show a little bit more frequently now. Well, now I can actually go back to my normal schedule, and you guys will get your episodes at the normal time, even though technically today's episode, well, doesn't come at the normal time. So here we are. But I do want to say thank you guys for coming back. It really does mean a lot to me. You guys are, supporting the show, and the fact that you even came back and listened and you waited this long for me. So thank you for that. Also, thank you to Patreon backers for supporting the show as well. You guys are greatly appreciated. And if you want to become one, you can click the little links down below and follow me on the social medias and all the other jazz, so you can probably find out what else I'm up to. But with all of that out of the way, how do we want to start the show back? Could we talk about the internship? Maybe we'll get to that eventually. Or can we talk about a new piece of hardware that I just added to my collection? I've had the chance to just, mess around with it for a couple weeks now, and I'm actually very happy that I waited so long for it. And I actually have it right here in my lap. Boop, boop. You probably see it in the video version, I know, yeah. See the little video version, because obviously it's going to be dilating and stuff like that. But we got a Steam Deck in, and not just any, we ended up going for the maxed out model. And for me, let me explain my rationale. So here is the whole story. So the Steam Deck went on pre-orders last year in 2021 in July. I jumped on the wait list July 29th, and I thought I got there as fast as I could. Well, I didn't, and I ended up being in the Q3 wait of this year of 2022. So that means from July to September. So during that time period, I was expecting to get the email and stuff like that hey, your Steam Deck is ready, you can finally buy it and everything like that. And it was like a Thursday, and during training that I got the email. I was just scrolling through my emails for some reason, and I see that, hey, I can now purchase my Steam Deck, and I decided to go with the maxed out model. I felt for me, the matte display and just having the bigger storage option just made more logical sense. That way I didn't have to worry about, storage expansion. And obviously as time has gone on, because the Steam Deck has been out for a year, there's been people that are able to mod it, go inside of it, swap out the SSD, things like that. And for me, I just felt, okay, just pay the premium, get the matte display, because I actually like the display. And we'll get to that when we talk about my overall impressions and basically almost a month of using it, which I know we'll talk about that at the end, about how I feel about it. But I will say that, was the wait worth it? I think for me, yes. But I can also understand why for some other people, it was just, maybe they want to wait a little bit longer. And what do I mean by that? So talking about my Steam Deck and what I've been using it for and how I've been using it. So obviously setting up, my Steam library and things like that. And another big thing that I've been using for has been emulation. So I've personally set it up with a 256GB SD card, I have it set up with Wii games, with GameCube games, with my DS, GBA, and just other little games I put in there for emulation so I can just play them on the go. And for me, I'd say there's two ways I can break this down. One, the experience and the process of doing all of it. And then, well, the second would be, how does it actually perform and run? And so when we talk about the whole process, it has never been so simple to literally set up emulation on this device. Like, this device, to me personally, has been very easy and straightforward to set up emulation. That, to me, it reminded me of when I basically modded my 3DS for the first time. It basically took like 10 minutes. Granted, it took a little bit longer because, I don't have it set up on the dock, dragging files here and there and finding ways to get my files and get my ROMs and things like that. It's just a whole big mess. But it was pretty straightforward and simple. Like, if we're being honest about setting it up and things like that, like, it was very, very easy and simple. It was not complicated. Anybody can realistically do it. I'm being honest with you. Anybody can. And once we got it all set up and actually playing games, yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. Now, granted, you have to run them at like some of my games like 60 FPS unless you get some little issues here and there, which I'm like, hey, that's fine. There's no big issues. But overall, the experience, especially with some of my emulations, like with Wii, GameCube, because I think some of the games I put on there for the GameCube, I chose to do Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. And I put Pokemon Gales of Darkness XD because I've never played through those games. So I'm very excited to start playing through them. Obviously some people like to put Mario Sunshine, Mario Kart Double Dash, some of these bigger games on the GameCube or, Phantasy Star Online, whatever. And then for the Wii, I put Mario Kart Wii and I put Pokemon Battle Revolution because I wanted some of those more battle simulators. And especially the DPP metagame has definitely been my favorite metagame in terms of the history of Pokemon because I'm a big Pokemon nerd. You can probably see my Gengar plushies behind me. I don't think you can see Charizard and Garchomp and Feraligatr over there on the side. But yeah, and then obviously I put a lot of my DS Pokemon games on there, my GBA Pokemon games, and at the same time some other GBA like Metroid Zero Mission, and just some other fun games that I put on there to play on the go. And then normal my Steam library, like the ones I've been playing on, especially specifically on the go. Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter World, Hades have been the three that I've been playing the most. And for me, I love Monster Hunter Rise. I've talked about this multiple times. It's one of my favorite games that came out on the Switch. And I bought it on PC when it came out. Granted, my Switch account has the majority of my stuff. So I haven't really been playing it so much because my Switch account has all my stuff and my PC account doesn't. But I've actually been enjoying playing it on my Steam Deck more because obviously, yes, objectively speaking, the Steam Deck is far more powerful than the Switch. It is going to run these games much better. Monster Hunter Rise looks better. It runs better. It runs at a clean 60 on handheld. And that's what a lot of people have been wanting is, especially with the Switch, like with a Pro revision, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, not like they should do it. It's the matter of the fact that we really should have a more powerful handheld. And that's why like the market right now for handhelds is blowing up. And the fact that I'm able to play these experiences on the go at high quality, like Monster Hunter World, I'm playing that, like obviously 60 FPS is a bit of a challenging thing, but I'm playing it at a high settings, 30 FPS clean with no dips. And I've been thoroughly enjoying my experience just playing that game on the go and experiencing it again because Monster Hunter World was one of my favorite games of all time because it was just a very fun experience. It was the first game I dumped like hundreds of hours into, aside from a Pokemon game because competitive battling and things like that and breeding. But it was really one of the first times I pumped so many hours into a game and I just had so much fun playing it and experiencing it again. It's breathtaking, especially on a portable console, just being able to take it on the go. And this is where it leads into a lot of my feelings with having the Steam Deck because yes, there are some things that I wish could be better. There are some things that, hey, I could see why people were hesitant to jump right off the bat because obviously this is a first generation product. They're obviously going to make revisions down the line and things like that. And so let's talk about some of those things. I know for me, the screen, I'm very happy with it. However, yes, I acknowledge it. It is not as good looking as say my Switch OLED, which obviously the OLED display looks very, very good. That's one of the reasons I love using my Switch in handheld is because of the OLED display. And so that's one thing if we're being, there's probably been beat to death, who knows how many number of times, if I'm being honest with you, that, yeah, the next Steam Deck should have an OLED. However, battery technology and things like that are things we should take into consideration. At the same time, we also have to be mindful of things like, yes, the performance, can be better, but it's also the limitations of what we can do in a form factor. And here's one of the reasons why like I say I like the Steam Deck, because we talked about some of the things I don't like. I think the feel in the hands, for me, it felt good, but I feel like maybe getting a case for it and things like that would probably be a good idea, like a grip case, just to get a little bit more feeling, get some better feel on it. Thumbsticks are in good position, mount trackpad and everything good position. Here's where the big debate about the Steam Deck. I've heard commentary saying that, hey, this is an incredible device. This is, a good device, but it's not revolutionary. And some people have gone off the deep, I wouldn't say off the deep end, but have definitely gone on record and said that they feel like this is the most important piece of technology ever created since the original iPhone. And I can see why people say that. Like, do I agree with it? No. I think a better way of putting it is this one of the most important devices for Linux gaming? Yes, this literally changes everything for Linux gaming, because now people will take it more seriously. The fact that Valve went off, like literally just off the rip, just said, hey, this thing is going to run Linux. They didn't say it was going to run Windows. They didn't. Bro, what the hell? Oh my gosh. I forgot that. Okay, I'm saying this now. Like, I didn't lose my train of thought. It's just acknowledging that I know my alarm went off. It's a new alarm clock I got from the internship, so forgive me for that. But as I was saying, the fact that Steam, or Valve in this case, went off the rip and just decided to go with Linux instead of Windows was a big gamble, especially because Linux, well, if we're being transparent here, is not necessarily the most favorable for gaming. Like, gaming has always been on Windows, and some people say, well, what about macOS? Most developers have always just developed everything for Windows. That's just how it has been until now, where now developers are working at a faster pace and working on Proton, working on improving it to the point, or even optimizing their games for running on Proton. So now Linux gaming will start to become more and more of a viable option for a lot of people, because yes, there are benefits with Linux. The fact that it's open source, the fact that there's different flavors and varieties to Linux. Like, in a professional setting, yes, a lot of coders will prefer to use Linux over macOS and Windows, because Linux is just more clean and efficient for doing things. That's just the cold hard reality. Sorry if it hurt your feelings. It's just the truth. But Linux is an interesting platform. And to me, because of using the Steam Deck, it's actually piqued my interest to actually go and learn a little bit more about Linux and understand how it ticks. And, get to learn some of the more intricate parts about Linux and, maybe experiment, maybe make a virtual machine that runs on Linux, like on a flash drive, just put it on a flash drive. So whenever I go somewhere, I could just put it in a computer and just start booting up Linux, without having to ruin the actual computer and put Linux on it. But to me, the experience with the Steam Deck has been one of those things where it always keeps dragging me back. Like, to be honest, I'll be 100% transparent with you. It's not the new toy syndrome. It's like, personally, I have not touched my Switch ever since I got my Steam Deck. I've just been taking it everywhere with me, just playing it on the go, like playing it at my desk shifts, playing it while check-in, playing it while in meetings, like playing it in my bed. Like, to me, this device was literally almost everything I wanted out of a portable device. Because I've been looking at portable emulators for a while, like the iOdin, the Air Neo, looking at like the Retro Pocket and things like that. Like, I've been looking at all these emulation devices because I was like, well, I kind of want a device that I can just take on the go and just focus on emulators and things like that. And it's like, well, I have my order of the Steam Deck in. Why should I purchase something else when I can literally just have it all on my Steam Deck and take it with me everywhere I go? Like, yeah, obviously it's a much bigger device in comparison to those others, but it clearly is more powerful and I get to do more with it. And seeing the potential with the Steam Deck, this is why I say that I can see why people consider it the most important device since the original iPhone. Because we acknowledge it. When the original iPhone came out, it revolutionized the smartphone market and it literally changed everything. I know some people don't like it when I say that, but it's just the reality was when the iPhone came out, the smartphone industry changed forever. And, here we are with modern day smartphones. There's a reason why Apple is almost a $3 trillion company. The fact that they still have the best selling phone in North America, the fact that they still have probably the most recognizable brand on the planet just because of an apple. Like, let that sit in. A literal apple is one of the most recognizable brands on the planet. Everyone knows that logo when they see it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Valve literally has a runaway success with this thing, because right now people are trying to buy it. They're hungry. They want this thing. And that's why they're ramping up production. So, well, yes, some of the downsides are, the dock that's supposed to go with this thing got delayed. And so other companies are swooping up and they see, because the demand is so high, they see, hey, people are willing to pay a little bit more, or people are willing to pay right now for like an accessory that they really want, like a dock. That's why I bought like a JSOX one, even though it's taking a little bit to get here. But you get the point, is that the demand for this product is very high, and Valve knows this. There's a reason why even developers are like, look at Spider-Man. Spider-Man Remastered just came out for PC not too long ago, and it is immediately verified for Steam Deck. Let that sit in. A device that has, been out for a year, but not that many people have it yet, immediately got verified for one of the most popular games of the modern era. Like Spider-Man Remastered, or Spider-Man, the PS4 Spider-Man, was considered one of the greatest games made in the recent generations of consoles. Like, it just really is a good game. And the fact that it got verified immediately for the Steam Deck, that's bonkers. The fact that you can literally take a AAA experience on the go, that's what people really want. Especially that's the whole point of the Switch, is the fact that you can take these AAA games or first party games from Nintendo and take them on the go. The Steam Deck is now able to do that with any game. And you see why the potential and why people are so interested, especially as an emulator. Like, there's people that are just buying this thing just for a damn emulator. I'm just being honest with you. And do I blame them? Not really, because the emulation process is so simple, so easy to set up. It's literally just drag and play. It is that simple. It is not hard. It is not complicated. It just works. And that's what people love the most about this dang thing, is that it just works. It does everything that you want it to do with no issues. Now, are there still hiccups? Yes. I'm not going to pretend like there's not bugs. I'm not going to pretend like, hey, there may not be some issues with, hardware and things like that. We acknowledge that those are real issues, and these are things that should be addressed and fixed in due time, and I'd say probably diligently, hopefully. But we also, just because there's, some cons there, we're not going to pretend like the cons are everything, but we want to be realistic and acknowledge that, yes, there are flaws with this product. There are reasons why you shouldn't get it. And to be honest, I don't think everyone should. I think for the people that do want this device, they have a good argument of why they want it. And besides that, they just want it and they have money to throw. Like, this device does suit a need. Yes, can you consider it a very niche need? Yes. But for those niche people, this is a good device, and they will literally pay top dollar to get this thing. Now, do I think you should get the maxed out model? To be honest, no. Like, I think it's just debatable of what you want. Like, if you really care about that matte display, some people like get a matte screen protector and things like that. Expand the SSD by yourself. Granted, you do risk voiding the warranty. Now, to be honest, if you don't want to go through anything and you just want to drop the full $700 for this thing maxed out, then go right ahead. It's still cheaper than most devices in its price category, and it will still outperform any device in this, price tier. That's just the objective facts here. Some people may not like that. That's just the truth here. At the end of the day, do I think the Steam Deck will change PC gaming? Yes, I think it will change Linux gaming primarily, but I do think it is going to change how people perceive PC gaming. The fact that, this device literally is a computer. You can use it as a computer to do actual work. If you hook it up to a dock and everything with a keyboard and mouse, you can do literal work. And because it's Linux, it's literally just running Linux, and you can do actual work on it. And to me, it's a device that I recommend. If you can get your hands on it, great. Like, if you're still in the queue waiting for this sucker, wait it out. Like, just wait till it's your turn. But also think about, like, what do you want to use it for? Is this an emulation device for you? Or do you just have like such a big catalog of Steam games that you just want to play them on the go? And yeah, that's obviously one thing that I don't like about the Steam Deck too, if I can add it in there, is the battery life. Let's be real, the battery life is not necessarily the best. Now, with emulators, it's really good. Obviously, with actual AAA experiences, like say if you're trying to play God of War 2018 on the go, yeah, your battery life's gonna be pretty bad, especially at like 60 FPS, high settings, things like that. At the end of the day, this is a device that is incredible. And I think I am very, very happy that I waited a year for this thing. And was it worth it for me? Yeah. Will it be worth it for you? I don't know. That's a question you have to ask yourself. But let me know what you think in the comments down below, whether you like my opinions or not about the Steam Deck. If you have any questions for me, you can ask them down below or reach me on my social medias and things like that. I also want to make it clear too, this is not the end of this discussion about this device. I've only had it for almost a month, or probably less than a month, probably like a couple weeks. And it's like, well, the commentary doesn't end here. Let's see, how are things in 6 months? How are things in a year? How are things in 3 years? How are things in 5 years? These are the questions that we really should be asking ourselves, like long term, especially with these devices, because, well, it is an investment for a long term. So we definitely want to ask the hard questions, if we're being honest here. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. This is not the end of the discussion. This is really just putting a bookmark here, and we'll pick it up in due time. But thank you guys so much for your time. I know, again, I've been gone for a couple weeks. I know it's been almost a month since we've done an episode, and the fact that you guys, if you follow me on social media, you know what I've been up to. I've been chatting, but I really did miss doing this. Like, yes, were there times where it's like, I think we can make some time, and it's like, God, and then we get busy, and I'm like, to be honest, I miss doing this. Like, yes, does it generate tons of revenue? No. And I've said this multiple times. I do the show because, to me, the show is my way of just relaxing and just sharing what's on my mind. Just sharing how I feel about these trends in technology and business, talking about these goodies, video games, whatever, even just having the real talks and just having honest conversations about things that affect us on an everyday basis. I love doing this. To me, it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's something that puts a smile on my face, and I'm happy that I get to do it every time I get to do it. And so thank you guys for allowing me to have a piece of your time and a piece of your day, because time is valuable, because it's something you don't get back. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. Thank you for being patient with me and waiting for me to come back. And I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I wanted to kick it off with a bang and talk about like a very interesting product that I've been interested in for a while now, and I'm glad I finally have it in my collection. And don't be surprised if I start using this thing in class more often. My teachers will probably get pissed at me, but that'll be fine. But thank you guys for everything. I hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful week and weekend. And as always, guys, don't do anything dumb. Please be safe out there. Please continue to be kind and courteous to those around you, because the world is still a weird place, guys. The world is still weird. So the best way to do it is just be kind and courteous to those around us and try to help people in any way we can. But until next time, guys, I love you guys to death. Please be safe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.